Here we go now with the American League Central standings. The Guardians, Twins, and White Sox down to the wire in this crazy division. And I am not too sure what the Guardians did to upset the rain gods, but my goodness, I mean, everybody else plays, but somehow, some way, they never play in Cleveland. Another rain out yesterday. They played at 9:05 another night this week against the White Sox. They've had, 11 doubleheaders? Mike, welcome. What did you do to get all this horrendous weather and get all these doubleheaders on you? It's been a disaster all year long for your team. Let's start there.
Yeah, Chris, there's a lot of things that we can control and that we could try to control. That's not one of them. But it's certainly wreaked havoc on us. You know, like you said, we're going to end up with 11 doubleheaders this year. And you know how much that can disrupt pitching and just disrupt the flow of things, especially when you're sitting around waiting in some of those delays like we were this weekend. So it's been tough. At the same time, we have to fight through it. And there's nothing we can do about it. And our guys have been great about handling that adversity.
What are you going to do about this makeup with the White Sox? Because I don't think they go back to Cleveland. You're going to have to play the game in Chicago with you batting last. What are you going to do as far as the makeup is concerned with Chicago?
I hope that's not the case. I mean, we're working through that to schedule it, and our hope is that we can find a mutual day. We're hoping we don't have to do that for sure.
That is tricky. All right, your pitching has been superb, and of course your bullpen's done a great job too with the Guardians. It always starts there. Obviously, you're resourceful offensively, but the starting pitching and the bullpen, Mike, that's been the key. Discuss. Go ahead.
Yeah, you nailed it. Our bullpen all year has really been a highlight of the team. I mean, it's anchored by Clase in the back end, but we've had a bunch of other guys, Trevor Stephan, Eli Morgan at times, James Karinchak has come back from injury, guys who have just been awesome in the pen. Really, every guy out there has been tremendous. It's been a real strength of our team. And then, like you said, our starters have been more consistent. I think we were looking for more consistency out of the group. Shane Bieber and Tristan McKenzie have been absolutely great all season. We're looking for a little bit more consistency out of the other guys. And this month, when we really needed it, our starting pitching has been at its best. So that's been great to see.
And I'll tell you, you're not going to get a ton of home runs, but the trade you made with Lindor, obviously you're not going to replace him talent-wise, but Rosario's had a good year. Jimenez was an all-star, and you throw him in with Ramirez, you got a little something going there from an offensive perspective. So you put the ball in play. That game against Detroit, the 6-1 eighth inning last week is a perfect case in point. And if you put the ball in play, good things can happen, Mike. Talk about that for a sec. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I mean, trading a guy like Francisco is incredibly challenging, and you never know what you're going to get with prospects. But we saw some indicators in the guys that we got, and they have just been tremendous. Andres Jimenez is incredible as a defensive second baseman, really can play shortstop too. It's been fun to see his offense take off this year. I mean, he's a bat-to-ball guy, but he's also showing some power, speed on the bases. So that's been tremendous to watch. And like you said, Amed Rosario has been a spark plug for this team all year. You know, he just day in and day out, he comes out to play. He runs the full 90 every time. He's got, a ton of infield hits, and he has just been, like I said, a real spark plug for the team. Obviously, Jose Ramirez sets the standard for all of them also.
Yeah, with a $141 million contract, great job on your part getting that done, all the RBIs. Little surprised the Guardians did not try to get a bat at the deadline. I'm sure you worked on it, Mike. Tell me about that for a sec. Go ahead.
Yeah, really from the start of the year on, our focus was on how do we create opportunity for young players. We're a small market team. We know who we are. We know how we have to win, and that has to be coming from within. So we tried to create a lot of opportunity for young guys, and we saw that really start to gel and come together over the course of the year. So we got to the deadline. There was a lot of discussion about how can we add to the team and make it better. We explored a ton of alternatives. We really targeted and focused on a handful of them. In the end, we had nothing to show for it, not because we didn't try, but because with each one of those, we felt like any guy we bring in potentially takes an opportunity away from a young player. And it takes something away from the team chemistry. We don't want to muddy the waters just by bringing a bat in if that guy's not going to fit perfectly. So, look, we had to make challenging decisions at the deadline. At the same time, it's paid off. We're 12-7 in August. We've seen the team probably play some of its best baseball over the past several weeks in August. So it has been fun to watch these guys come together, even without any external additions.
All right, Minnesota will come in for 5 games in September. That's a big series, and you also have 9 left with Kansas City, and the last 6 games of the season in your ballpark. You're not going to say anything bad about them because I know the way you operate, but against the Royals, which could be an advantage. So think about that: 5 at home against Minnesota and 6 to finish the year against Kansas City. Mike, talk about that for a sec. Go ahead.
I feel like Tito answered this question saying we're just looking at every game ahead of us, right? Especially with a young team, we're focused on what are we doing today? We're off today. Okay, then we play San Diego tomorrow. We take them one at a time. It's hard not to look ahead a little bit, and we do know that we're playing a lot of division opponents, and we have a lot of games left against both Chicago and Minnesota. I think we have something like 11 games left against both of those teams. So I think it'll be a fun and exciting time. But we're trying not to get ahead of ourselves. We just have to win tomorrow night's game and start with that.
What a job early in the year. Gave you a lot of confidence. Maybe springboard to good finish here. 2 out of 3 at Dodger Stadium against the Dodgers, who never lose at home. And you won a series there, which very few teams have been able to do this year. Had to mean something. Take it away.
Yeah, our team was probably playing our best baseball at that time. You know, we were resilient, had some comeback wins on that road trip. And we saw some of our young players like Stephen Kwan, Josh Naylor, Andres Jimenez fight through some initial struggles early in the season. And right at that time in June, really start to come together. And those guys have just taken off from there. So I do think, you know, you don't want to, no one game is more important than another game. But I think that series in LA proved to some of our young players that we can hang with the big boys. And you know, we're just as good as all these teams. And this can potentially be our year this year.
Mike always has a catch with his dad every time he gets together. And his father, Mark Chernoff, was my boss for a lot of years over there at WFAN. When's the last catch the two of you have had? Let me hear.
We had it about 2 weeks ago. I spent a night in New Jersey, so we had it 2 weeks ago. We were just planning our September catch. The tradition continues, and now my 2 boys, who are 11 and 9, get involved in every one of those. So it is now a multi-generational, spanning 3 generations, that catch.
Very good. I love to hear that. Keep up the great work, Mike. Thanks for a couple minutes today. Go Guardians. Appreciate a few minutes.